If you've been thinking about wanting to start a podcast but not sure where to get started, I have some news for you. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There are creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many more. You can make money from your podcast as well with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Hi guys, Donna here with Kayla Francis. Kayla Francis is a soul purpose and empowerment women coach for introverted women. There's been a time in my life when I could have used you, but it's for people who can't find their purpose. And that really brings us to Kayla's journey today. Kayla's journey was one where she was working in an entry-level position at a hospital, and she went back to school for a master's degree, and she had felt that she was not necessarily following her purpose. Sometimes we take a job and we do so out of necessity and thinking, okay, this was my dream, this is what I'm going to do. And it doesn't always work out. So Kayla is going to talk to us about being at that crossroads in her life. And by the end of this, we'll see if it was better to have made that choice or not. So let me introduce you to Ms. Kayla Francis. Hi, Kayla.
Hi, thanks so much for having me today.
Oh, you're more than welcome. I'm glad you joined us. So tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so this journey actually started when I was 17 years old and just getting into college. I actually started college while I was in high school. So we have this thing in Florida, and I don't know if it's in other states or other places as well, but where you can do dual enrollment, start high school while you're in college. I got out of high school with some college credits.
Nice.
And at that point, I'm like, okay, I have these college credits. What do I do now? So obviously the best option, what made the most sense to me at that point was I'll just keep going on to college. But unfortunately for me, I didn't really have a well thought out plan. And I went into college having no idea what the heck I was getting myself into. I didn't do bad. I had really good grades and I was able to keep up with everything. And I ended up with a lot of success coming out of college, but I was miserable.
What was your major?
Health informatics and information management.
Okay, let's go back for a second then. What was your dream job when you were younger?
I did not have a dream job. Well,
Okay.
When I was younger, I would say when I was a child, I always thought I'd be a teacher or a lawyer.
Okay.
But for some reason, that did not seem possible to me going into college because I was mainly focused on money. What can I make or what can I do that will make me the most money? So I was like, not teacher and lawyers. There's too many years of school to be a lawyer. So I'm going to pick something else. And yeah, I probably should have went with my first choices, but it happens.
Well, in a way, I mean, not to get off track, but in a way, what you're doing now, you are teaching. So that's a good thing.
Exactly.
That's a very good thing. I went off. Whoa, go ahead. But go ahead with your story.
Yeah, so I was in college, and I do want to just say at one point while I was in college, I've had many different points while in school where I was like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm not happy here. I had all these little nudges. And so one example of these nudges was when I was walking to class, and I would always take the student union as a shortcut to get to class. So I'm walking to class, and the whole time I'm walking there, I'm thinking, I need to just walk out and drop these classes. And so I'm internally panicking. I'm freaking out because I don't know what to do. So I call my mom and I'm like, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know. So we end up calling my uncle who went to college. We call my uncle's friend, who's like a family friend to us. And we calling all these people to figure out what I should do.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was one point where I was like, I should probably leave now, but I didn't and continued anyway. So anyway, fast forward, I do graduate. But before graduating, I did sit for 2 national exams. It was required, and I passed them both.
Nice.
And that was also another nudge where I would say it was probably time for me to just end this all and leave. But I didn't because I'm just an overachiever. I like to finish things that I started. So I passed those exams and I'm close to graduation, still panicking inside because I'm like, okay, I almost have to get into find a job and become a big girl. And it was scary to me because I was not happy and I knew I didn't want to do this.
What kind of, you're talking about internal panic. Did it
Hmm.
start taking a physical toll on your health at all or anything like that?
I would say, yeah, I developed depression and
Okay.
anxiety. So
And that
I
can that can really take you down.
definitely. But I kept going. Even through all of that, I kept going. I did reach out to the psychology department in my college because they did offer free psychology sessions. Um, so I did go to therapy, but it wasn't really helping because at the end of the day, what was causing the depression was still happening in my life
Right.
and still there.
And that's sometimes with depression, you can't get out of the situation you're in no matter how bad you want to.
Mm-hmm.
So, when I had a corporate job, in my last days of that corporate job, I was sitting at my desk going, I'm going to quit. I'm going to go insane if I don't quit. I'm going to quit. I need to quit. But yet I would still, like you, I would still go there every day and I would even having nightmares about the place. But you still keep going because, well, this is what I have to do. So
Mm-hmm.
what happens? So you're close to graduating. You have this depression now. So what's going on now? Are you going to go out and find a job? What is it going on in your head at this moment?
Well, I landed an internship. And so at that point, it's like, oh my goodness, I have all these great, you would think they'd be great things. I should
Uh-huh.
be celebrating. But yeah, just still unhappy. I landed this internship, did great, and I ended up landing a job. So I think it was a little bit before graduation day where I found out that I got the job. And so
Hmm.
I was excited just to have a job.
Yeah.
But on the inside, I was also like, okay, I have this job, but I still need to figure out what I'm going to do next. So I'm celebrating, I'm graduating, I have this job on my mind, but at the same time, I'm like, why can I not be happy? Why is it that I'm here celebrating, but I'm still miserable on the inside? And it was I was torn. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to because other people in my family or yeah my family my close circle were excited for me and they were proud of me and I'm like I don't want to let anyone down and I felt guilty because I had these two certifications that I passed and some of my peers did not pass them and I got them paid for so I didn't even have to go into my pockets to pay for these certifications and so yeah I ended up in the job and then that is where it all clicked to where I was like I have to get out. There's no more thinking. I have to get out.
It started suffocating you, didn't
Yeah, it was real.
it? And I don't mean to laugh. That pressure, I think too many of us put ourselves in that situation where we're under that intense scrutiny and that pressure. And how do you handle it? How do you decide to make the choice? And were you living on your own at the time, or were you still living at home where you had that ability to say, you know what, I can step back and pursue what I want to pursue, or were you stuck where I have to support myself? I mean, where were you at that point in your life as far as the outside of the job field?
Yeah, I was still living at home, but I had bills. I still had
Yeah.
bills in my name and I still had loans to pay back. I was in debt from those loans. And I'm still paying back loans for the bachelor's degree and a little bit of the master's degree that I completed. And I did have the option, I guess, to quit my job because it wasn't too I guess I could have kept looking if I had actually put my mind to it, but I was so to the point where I'm like I don't want to go into any other job that I'm like I need to find another plan. What is there else that I can do to where I'm not going back to in another situation where I'm still unhappy?
And your parents or your family was supportive of this?
As far as
As far as saying, okay, yeah, we're behind you and anything we can do to help you, we'll do it. Or was there kind of
oh
like,
yeah, definitely.
okay.
Yeah. I
Because I
did have
mean,
support, yeah.
some people would have been like, sorry, you chose this. There you go. So that's why I was asking that. So you decided to go. Did you give them 2 weeks or did you just walk in and say, bye bye, I'm done?
No, I stuck it out.
Okay.
And what ended up happening was I started bargaining with myself, which was another regret of mine. I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's just a position. Maybe it's because it's an entry level job and I just need to move up the ladder and I'll feel better. So that's when I went back for my master's degree. And of course, what ended up happening was my heart was like, no, why would you do this again? This is not what you want. This is not where we're supposed to be. We have something else for you. Or I guess when my heart was saying,
Yeah.
there's something else for you down the line. Why are you doing this? So I stuck that out for 3 semesters. And then I ended up dropping out of grad school.
So now we've dropped out of grad school. We're still sticking with the job, I take it. So what
Mhm.
was the moment that what was the epiphany? What was that epiphany moment that made you say, "Okay, I'm taking this. I'm doing what I need to do for my heart, for my soul, and I'm changing my life because I don't want my soul sucked out of me, for lack of a better way to put it."
So this might sound silly, but it was actually a YouTube video. I was watching a YouTuber and he was living the life. He was living a life that was fulfilling him. He had so much abundance. He was happy. He was offering his strengths and his skills, his talents to the world and offering value in a way that felt right to him. And I was like, a lot of what he's saying is making sense. And if he can do this, why can't I do this? Why am I allowing myself to stay miserable and staying stuck when there's so much more out there? So it started from the YouTube video and then I started doing research online. And that's when I ran into all these spiritual leaders. I ran into law of attraction, how you can use the universe to your benefit. And I just went down this whole spiral of all of these different, I guess, spiritual things. And that kind of opened up my mind and expanded my mind to what was possible for me.
And with that growth, I mean, you start seeing how you can put it out into your world personally and then expand it to other people, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm.
When I said in the introduction that there was a time when I could have used somebody, it wasn't so much that I was introvert. I was living in a small town, and I was a mother of my two stepdaughters, and we came back from vacation, me and the kids, and my husband was an over the road driver. And we came back, and I told my husband, I'm like, I feel like my life is stagnating because we were living in a small town in Indiana, and we used to live in Dallas. Excuse me. So when I came back, I was just like, my life's stagnating. It what I loved being a mom, but the girls were getting older, and it was just then the universe presents me with this. I had won a pizza on the radio station, and I had met the DJ at Musicland, and him and I became friends. And when I got back from vacation, he's like, "Hey, I told my boss about you. He wants you to be a disc jockey." I'm like, "Okay."
Wow.
So I got this little. It was kind of weird because that set a lot of other things into motion, and I changed my life. But had I not been willing to reach out to the guy when I saw him at Musicland, I would not have been able to do it. So, how do you? What made you decide to tackle the issue of empowering women that need to be empowered? Did you see yourself in some of these women? Is that what made you do this, or was there somebody in a family or a friend?
It was actually a coach. I had reached a breaking point to where I was like, okay, I want to get out of the situation and I need to figure out how to get out of it. So I started looking online on other people who were following their life purpose. I don't remember exactly if I had typed in life purpose or if I had looked up, different things and I came across life purpose. But that's where I found my coach and she helped me discover my purpose. And
Okay.
ultimately, what I discovered, I guess, unearthed that my purpose is to inspire, teach, going back to teaching, if I had
Mm-hmm.
stuck with my childhood dreams, and to just get out there and make a bigger impact. And we came to the conclusion that the way I wanted to express my purpose was through the work that I do. Because I was just so unhappy with my current career. And I don't ever feel like I would fit into another career path as far as working within corporate. So I decided that I wanted to do something where I'd have freedom over my life, where I can, I guess, physical freedom as well, financial freedom. That all just sounds so amazing to me. And, coaching was something that when she brought it up, I automatically lit up inside. I had so much fire inside of me because I knew I could do all of those things. I could teach, I could inspire, I could spread the word of whatever I'm passionate about, which I'm hugely passionate about purpose. I love it so much. And I feel like everyone should be living on purpose. Um, so I love spreading the word about that. And yeah, I guess working with her is what started it all, just helping me find out what it is that makes me happy, fulfilled, and how I can offer value, how I
Do,
can express that.
do you think that that we're so connected now to technology, do you think that, and I mean, yes, we're doing a podcast on Zoom, so this is kind of ironic, but do you think that that takes away from people discovering their purpose? That they're so distracted now that they don't actually hear their calling or their purpose, and they just kind of meander through life with blinders on, lack of a better way to put it?
Wow, yeah, that is a great question. I never thought about that before, but I would say yes, because there's so much distraction and there's so many people living through other people that they kind of forget to tune or pause, tune in with themselves, connect with themselves. And you're on your phone all day, and I'm guilty of that as well. You're on your laptop all day, the tablets are in kids' faces. I see it every single day. And you're following other people's lives. You're following, and you can do that, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if someone inspires you and you admire them and you want to follow their footsteps. But it just becomes a problem when it's all you're doing is following other people's lives and you're not really coming back to yourself, taking a break and just disconnecting. And I would highly recommend that, especially for people who suffer with anxiety. If you are on your phone and tablet all day, always connected to social media on the computer, and you're feeling anxious because you're seeing other people doing these things, and you're like, wait, why can I do that? Why are they able to do this? And I'm over here doing this. Disconnect and figure out, how can you get there? What can you do?
And I think that's very important about unplugging and even stepping outside into, you know, we've all been trapped or cooped up for so long, social distancing and everything, that we lost a lot of human connection. But being able to step out and just look at nature, even if it's for a few minutes,
Mm-hmm.
if you have the potential to even just look up and say, hey, the sun's shining today, something that shows you that something that's real. Because then you also look at the other thing about the social aspect of technology and all the photoshopping. And, you know, for my generation, we had magazines that were photoshopped. Not it wasn't called Photoshop, it was called airbrushing, but it's still the same thought process. But now you have people that, I can go on TikTok and I can put makeup on without ever putting makeup on. Um, does that affect, how does that affect people? How does that affect the younger generation? How does that affect the woman who you're trying to empower, but all she sees, maybe she's in a marriage that her husband isn't very supportive or her partner's not very supportive, and she doesn't feel worthy, and then she goes and looks at somebody online that she admires, but the fact of the matter is it's an illusion because the person is not really that. It's all been enhanced. So how do you deal with something like that? Or have
I
you dealt with
think
something like that?
I actually haven't, but I guess personally I have, but I haven't dealt with a client who has come to me with that issue. But I think everyone just needs to remember that it is an illusion. Just be aware of that. Like, not everything you see online is what it is. And you have to remember that people are putting their best selves online for the most part. They're putting what they want you to see. And, there are all of these filtering, editing apps, and it's it is hard to tell people, even though you see all those things, don't take it to heart. Don't let it get you down. If someone that you're following is bothering you, making you feel uncomfortable, giving you that anxiety, stop following them. Don't put yourself through that suffering. Why would you? And I feel like sometimes people, they in a way, they self-sabotage themselves because they like that feeling. They like that harm, that trauma feeling for some reason. And, we could go really deep into that.
Well,
But I think,
I was gonna say, I don't know that it's always that they like it. I think it's a comfortable feeling.
yeah.
It's something that if you were younger and you've lived in abuse, even though you don't recognize it as abuse when you're younger, you tend to start picking people that fit that mold for you to give you that same kind
Hmm.
of. So you have to break that cycle. I didn't mean to interrupt, but go ahead.
Oh, it's no problem. Yeah, I think saying that it's a comfortable feeling is a better phrase, because that's what I went through when I went through my emotional trauma. Is when I was in this situation that was so negative, I noticed that I was attracted to more negative things. I was watching all of these negative documentaries on YouTube, and I wanted to watch anything that made me feel uncomfortable or anything that scared me, kept me up at night. All these serial killer stuff. I'd watch all these crazy stuff and didn't realize, I'm like, why is this interesting to me so much? And I have all this stuff on my recommended. And then once I was out of that situation, I would click on those videos and I'd lose interest within a minute. I wasn't attracted to it anymore.
I totally understand when I was at the job that I did not like. My favorite video game at the time was San Andreas. And it wasn't always just to drive around listening to music. It was a great stress reliever, but as soon as I left that job, I don't think I've ever played the game again. It
Yeah.
was just something that it was like at the time, I just needed to drive around and do whatever. But I've never really played it again. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do agree that your attitude changes. When I had kids, I had two, like I said, I had two stepkids. My sister-in-law had sent me a tape of Beavis and Butthead because we didn't have cable, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so mortified. This is so wrong." All right, fast forward a couple of years later, I have the kids are now no longer part of my life as far as a daily thing, and I'm watching Beavis and Butthead. I'm like, "Oh, this is pretty funny." So your attitude it changes.
Yeah.
And something I want to touch on with you is about the fact that fear
Mhm.
can stop us in our tracks so easily, and it's I think it's because we're taught that way. We're taught, and the media consistently embraces you need to be scared, you need to be worried, and that only increases anxiety and depression, does it not?
Definitely. Because we have a lot of our fear is it stems from these stories that we have that we developed. And so you'll realize once you get rid of those stories and you're like, wait, so that's not actually true. That's not what I thought I believed is not actually a fact. And once you realize that it's easier to get out there and get out of your comfort zone. And I'm probably one of the best people to talk to about getting out of your comfort zone and growing, because I was super shy when I was young. And I was able to overcome that on my own, my shyness on my own. And that was just from taking action. Because once I started taking action, going out doing what I was passionate about, my confidence shot up. And it's almost like I'm this new person. I feel like I'm developed and I'm trying to find the right word for it, but I feel revamped. And
Rejuvenated.
yeah, definitely. I have a lot of energy. I'm ready to go.
Well, and I think with the fear, the one thing that'll, as we're talking about fear stopping you in your tracks, is always because our mind will sit there and go to, well, if I do this, this could happen and this could happen. It's never something positive. It's always something negative.
Yeah.
And really it's like, okay, so what's the worst that can happen? And when you really unpack it, it's like, well, I'll survive no matter what.
Yeah.
I had you always seek your parents' approval. At least my generation did. I'm pretty sure that's the same still, correct? I mean, did you seek?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
So, my mom always would tell me one day you're gonna, you can do anything you put your mind to. Okay. Next minute she'd tell me I'm gonna fall flat on my face. All right. So that's a whole nother story. We're not talking about that. But when I went to my dad one day, I was, I think, in my early 30s. And I asked him, I said, Dad, are you proud of me? And he goes, What does it matter? And I looked at him like, What? And he says, What does it matter if I'm proud of you? He's like, You're living your life for you. You're doing what you want to do. He's like, If you fall down, you're going to pick yourself up and keep going. So I don't, my approval does not need to matter to you. I'm like, okay. All right. When I got married, he did tell me he was proud of me, but that's beside the point. But it was just one of those things because I was taken aback because here I had somebody that was so super, critical or not critical. And then the other one's just like, well, whatever. You're going to make your mistakes. You're going to do whatever.
Hmm.
And I think that is a hard lesson for a lot of us is to get past seeking outside approval, whether it be from parents, friends, or whoever.
Definitely, especially with social media. Everyone's always trying to put on and be extra for other people. And it's
Yeah.
like, do you even know these people? Do you
No,
even know half of your Facebook friends or your Instagram followers?
no.
Like, who is this really for?
Yeah. And I mean, the whole other caveat to that is like, like last night I had a guy reach out to me and he's like, "Oh, you're so beautiful." And I'm like, he's like, "You look young. You look too young to have kids." And I'm just like, "Really, dude? Come on."
What?
You know, come on, just go. So, the reality is the internet. I had a friend who she was on a dating site and this guy said he was a male model. He wasn't. He was a grocery store clerk in England.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. The thing is, she still ended up marrying him, but that's beside the
Oh,
point.
oh.
Yeah. But I mean, when you see online, as you were saying, and as not everything is real.
Hmm.
When I decided I was going to do the podcast, it was just kind of like, I have had friends telling me, you need to do this. You have the voice for it. You need to do this. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't. There was that fear of, well, what if I can't get a guest? And I have to say, I like doing it. I'm enjoying it. I'm finding my purpose because I'm talking to people about their stories and hoping that those stories help somebody else. I mean, there's somebody that could be listening going, you know what? Maybe I need to reach out to Kayla because maybe she can pull me out of this. Maybe something in your story about being trapped helps somebody else. And to me, that's empowering, being able to help others just like you are. So, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. So, so when did you decide? Because I know you said you're still paying for college. Um, when did you decide to go off on your own and open your own business, dare I say?
Okay, so it's been a long journey. When I first started working with my coach was about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Time is flying by for me. And after I discovered my life purpose, she was like, okay, now what do you want to do with this? How do you want to express it? We decided I wanted to do it through a career. And then we tried coming up with different career choices. And so obviously I couldn't come up with anything. And I'm like, you know what? Entrepreneurship is where I need to go. And so that's how we came up with being a coach. And then she helped me start building my business. And that was 2 years ago. And I didn't really, I started and I didn't really take it seriously at the time. I was like, okay, I'm just starting a business. Yeah, this sounds cool. And I did not take it seriously as a business. So I struggled my first year going through that. I was able to build the business, but I didn't go very far with it because fear kept getting in the way. I didn't take it seriously. I'm at my full-time job and I'm like, oh, I'm too tired. I can just work on this stuff later. And then another year went by. I start with pro bono clients. I work with people for free, and I'm like, this is horrible. Working with people for free is definitely different than working with paid clients
Hmm.
because people tend to take you more seriously when they're actually putting something into it, when they're
Yes.
investing. So I didn't have the best experience when I started coaching. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take this seriously again. And I fell off the wagon. And then probably about a few months ago, I finally reached a point where I was like, okay, you know what? You're getting older, you are not getting younger, and you have goals that you want to reach by the time you're 27. I'm 25 right now, and I'm like, time is a ticking. Not that I want to put too much pressure on myself, but as I said, I'm not getting any younger.
Hmm.
So if I'm going to get serious about something, I need to do it now. I also went through something that was very traumatic, and that kind of it broke me to the point where I almost had to do something to get out of it. And I was able to heal while getting back into my coaching business. So I had two things going on, and that experience helped me to get out of the funk and to get back on track. And so I finally decided to get my butt back in gear, and I have been on fire ever since.
Sometimes it takes a trauma to actually to motivate us to do something. I mean, last year I lost my husband. So
Oh,
this
I'm
kind of,
sorry.
it's okay. This, when he was alive, I wanted to do a podcast and no, I wanted to do it with him. No, no, no. So after was a guest on somebody's podcast, I'm like, you know what? here's a tool, here's an idea, run with it, do it yourself. Because he did a podcast, this was an awesome podcast, and I've talked about it before. For 365 days in 2020, he had a different guest each day, and he asked them to talk about fear. So it was a very interesting concept. And my fear was about losing my husband because I knew he was on borrowed time and knew that from the day we got together. And I had told him it was always better to love him than lose him. And I thought about it. I'm like, and I also have a book series called Better to Burn Out series, and it's all rock star fiction. So I was like, what happens if you look up better too? And there's pages and pages on Google, and I'm like, everybody's got a better two story.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't realize it. And if you really sit there, it's usually that fork in the road moment of going, well, did I do the right thing or didn't I? And it's part, and a lot, when you think about it, that also comes down to that nugget of fear in a lot of cases. You make the safer choice, or do you make the choice that may change your life? What do you do?
Mm-hmm. And you don't know.
No.
You have to take a risk.
Yeah.
It's something that you really care about and you're very passionate about. Take a risk. And more than likely, you'll come out on the other side. If you do take that risk, you'll come out on the other side being like, wow, why did I not do this so much earlier?
Right.
Why did I wait so long? And you'll realize it was your fear that was keeping you back for so long.
Right. I mean, when I look at how things have been presented in my life, like the DJ thing, I never in a million years would have ever entertained the thought of becoming a disc jockey. But yet somehow the universe said, here you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that skill ends up being in use here. But it's interesting if people can sit there and actually step back and look at your life. I mean, when you think about you being a kid, you wanted to be a teacher. Yet you kind of were dismissive of it, were you not? Just going, well, I can't make money. I can't do this. This way you get to be a teacher on your own terms. You don't have to worry about kids. You don't have to worry about all the other trappings of grading papers and whatnot. You get to be a teacher of life lessons and helping people with their life lessons. And that's pretty empowering in itself.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it is I still do a little bit of tutoring. I used to do tutoring in college because I really enjoyed it. And I still do a little bit of tutoring till this day. I'll have college students, people that I know, that'll come to me, or it'll be parents coming to me saying, can you help my child with this or this? And I don't charge for it because it's not something that I do for money. It's just something that I'm able to do and I'm good at, and people come to me. So I do still do tutoring and teaching, even though it's not my career path in that capacity.
And do you enjoy that?
Yes, I do.
So then continue with the tutoring, because still that's part of your purpose. It's still part.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing about life purposes. I think a lot of us have more than one life purpose.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't always see it.
Yeah. And there's many ways to express it.
Yeah. So has the spiritual journey taken you to any place outside of where you live? Or has it just been centrally located around your area where you live? Have you gone on any classes?
It's mainly been around where I live.
Okay.
I do have plans to expand though.
Expand as in travels to go heighten your spirituality, or just expand the business into a bigger area?
Heighten my spirituality, and just for personal reasons. I have been to places outside of the US, so I really want to travel more within the US because I feel like I've been living in the United States for the most of my life and I haven't really traveled much outside of Florida. So
Understand.
I really just want to see how some other states are besides where I was born in Georgia, Florida. I've never been out of this zone.
Mm-hmm.
This side of the world. Yeah.
I can completely understand that. The weirdest thing I guess I've done spiritually, and I haven't really talked about this, is I was at a hotel talking to somebody, and in the lobby across from us was the Dalai Lama.
Oh wow.
I didn't even go over there. He also had security around him, but it's just like one of those things. It's like when you talk about random weird facts, it's like, well, I was actually in a room with the Dalai Lama, which is bizarre in itself. But spirituality, I think it's something that will call to you and motivate you, and if you listen to your intuition, which is a big topic for a lot of people, is trying to come into their intuition. The lady, the podcast I dropped today, she's from England, and she would call it the inner niggle, which was funny because it's like, okay,
Never heard
but
that before.
no, neither had I. But that's what she talks about. I mean, she's talking about her intuition, and she's like, yeah, because she was in nursing, and it's like, yeah, something was just like telling me you need to do this, you need to do this. So, where do you see yourself at in 5 years? I mean, what is the
Oh,
dream?
yeah. So I have my 2-year vision. I actually haven't thought 5 years out,
Two
but
years then.
okay, 2 years. I see myself as a successful coach. I'm just fully in my business. I am traveling a lot more, possibly married. Marriage is not something, well, I wouldn't say 2 years, maybe the 5-year mark is marriage. Um, and I am just completely secure with myself. Right now, I'd say I'm probably 3/4 of secure with myself and where I want my life to be. I feel very happy right now. And I'd say I'd be fully happy, or I'd say the cup will be completely full in about 2 years. Um, and I'm hoping to impact as many people as I can within those 2 years and just reach as many women as I can or anyone who comes across me. And yeah, I just see myself as this person on a roll to a huge transformation of impact.
Have you ever thought about working with kids or teenagers?
I did with teenagers. I've been a little nervous about that because of consent and just you would have to try to work with the parents as far as working with their children.
Right.
But as long as I have parental consent, I would love to work with teenagers as long as they're willing to put in the work.
Right. That's the hard thing. I mean, teenagers I think could benefit from being empowered,
Mm-hmm.
especially, going back to the whole marriage thing. We're taught at a certain age, these are the expectations of what your life should be. Married, kids, a job. That doesn't necessarily have to be that way. You get some say in your life, and it would be hard working with parents, yes, in some cases. But if you could inspire kids, I mean, that has got to be a reward in itself, you know.
Yeah, that's something I have thought about. But I guess it comes back to the whole being a teacher thing is having to work with parents and all the extra stress that comes with working with someone who's not 18 years or older.
Right, because they don't always take things seriously. And
Mm-hmm.
even working, I know you're in your early 20s, but even in my early 20s, I really wasn't fully acknowledging who I was, you know, because you're still learning about yourself as an individual.
Yeah.
Um, so you for you in your early 20s, you seem to have your stuff together. I'm being polite about it.
Thank you.
I mean, you've gone through some trauma, but you seem to have a level head on your shoulder, and not everybody at your age does. So I commend you
Mm-hmm.
for that. Um, so if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
Wow. Well, right now I've been wanting to go to Colorado. I know that seems very small and like I should
No,
be like, oh, somewhere out of the
no.
United States. But yeah, I've been wanting to, I've just been looking at the pictures of the mountains and I'm like, I really want to go hike a mountain over there.
So the mountains
Um,
call to you.
yeah, it's just so beautiful.
Well, see that, and I mean I know it's a really random question, but sometimes for me, water calls to me. I like, when I went to California, I had to go out to Venice Beach because I wanted to go put my feet in the sand. And mind you, I used to go to the Mississippi Gulf Coast all the time because we lived in New Orleans. So that was not a big deal. But I felt like I needed to go to Venice in Santa Monica and go stand there. So I get it. It's something that
Hmm.
calls to you. Um, so would you ever climb Everest?
No, I am not that adventurous. No,
We'll stick with the
I
Colorado
don't like the
mountain.
cold. No.
Understand.
Mhm.
Do you think that's part of your calling mm, from the past? I mean, maybe I don't know how you feel about past lives. I'm not really going to get into that, but I mean, do you think it's something that was ingrained in you from your soul that needed to go
It's
to the mountains?
possible. Yeah, it's possible because when I was younger, we would go to Georgia all the time to Stone Mountain. And I would always be like, can we please go to Stone Mountain? Can we please go to Stone Mountain? I didn't know as a kid, I don't really understand calling or anything like
Right.
that. But I just always felt like, oh my God, look at that mountain. I just need to climb it. It looks so fun. And so every time we'd go to Stone Mountain, I begged and we would go to Stone Mountain. And I'm like, I need to find some other mountains. We don't have that here in Florida, as far as I know.
No.
So I just see those pictures of the Colorado mountains and I'm like, wow, I wish I could take that here to Florida where it's warmer
Yeah.
and just be able to climb it whenever I want to.
Space Mountain doesn't count.
I need something real.
Yeah, yeah. I was in Disney. I was at Disney once when the power went out, and I was in Space
Oh
Mountain.
gosh.
It was weird because they have the emergency lights, so you could actually see the track. So it was very
Oh,
surreal. It was like, okay, that's what it looks like. But
that
yeah,
sounds scary.
it was weird because the power was out for like 2 hours. This was, I think, in the 80s, either late 70s, early 80s. It was just weird. I don't think that would ever happen now, but
Hope not.
um, so did you ultimately you left your job or are you still there?
I'm still there. So as I work on making my business full time, I'm going to stay at my job
Okay.
because they are allowing me a lot of flexibility so that I can work a lot on my business. So I'm going to take advantage of that.
That right there, when you look at jobs, when your job is willing to give you something like that, that gift of helping you to go after your dreams, then you can't really knock your job totally
Mm-hmm.
because they're supporting you somewhat. It's not just sucking you dry. It's actually still empowering you, which is good, which I'm glad to hear because being at a crossroads of what do I do, you have to make that choice. And if you're at I'm glad that you just didn't say, okay, 369, I resign and walked away.
Yeah, that would have not been the best idea, not having something lined up.
But there's so many people that do. That's what's crazy. I mean, I've seen so many people just go, okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah, that's a major risk, but it has worked for some people. They're just, you'll hear those success stories where it's like, I quit my job and I was
Hmm.
able to go into my business. You don't hear all the in-betweens of what happened, all the
No,
crying, not being able to pay bills.
no,
So I'm not exactly sure what's happening between all that, but I just hear these stories of I quit my job, I decided I'm going to do my business now, and everything sounds all happy. But I know for me, that would not have been the case. I probably would not be here right now, still working on my job because I'd be like, okay, how am I going to pay my bills? And then I'm stressed.
yeah,
And you can't work on a business, especially service based business, coming from a place of stress and not knowing where you're going to get money from.
no,
How are you going
no.
to eat?
It stressful tap your inspiration and everything that goes along with it. And if you're not inspired, how are you going to help other people be inspired and
Exactly.
motivated? Um, I think it's important, you know, I think it's important that you stay focused on pursuing this because I think you can help a lot of people. Sometimes I know you're going to get overwhelmed and say, "Well, maybe maybe I'll do it again." Because ultimately, we will go 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 until we are worn down. So when you get worn down, don't give up. And I know you don't have that I know you have the mindset that I'm going to do this no matter what, and I get that. And I know you'll pick yourself up and you'll get back to it. I know that. But just forgive yourself if you say one day, I got to take a break
Hmm.
because sometimes you just need that break.
Oh, yeah. And I make self care a high priority. So I do make sure that I'm not working myself to death. And I do meditation every day. I do breath work, and self care is super important to me.
That's good because most people, especially nowadays, self-care is just kind of an afterthought.
And that's how I used to be. But I had to buckle down because I didn't want to exhaust myself to the point where I'm not able to get back into my business because this is what's super important to me right now. And then I have to do what it takes to keep going down this path. And self-care, even though it doesn't seem important to a lot of people, you will see a huge difference in yourself once you actually start taking care of yourself. And
And
I
what
have had those moments. Oh, sorry to cut you.
No, go ahead, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say I have had those moments where I do want to give up because I know it'd be a lot easier. Once I'm working on all these things, I'm doing marketing, and my coach is like, okay, I need you to do this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, when I'm on the call, I'm like, yeah, I can do that. And then as soon as I look at the list, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should just stay at my job. It'd be so much easier. But then I think about the end goal, and I just keep focused on that, and I keep working. And every time that I keep working, keep taking a different step, doing more actions, more things are happening for me, and the universe is like, oh, okay, so this is what you're going to focus on. I just get all these things happening coming to me, and it's all worth it.
Good. And I don't think people realize how much goes into marketing now.
Oh
If you
goodness,
are a
yeah.
sole entrepreneur, whether you're an author, a podcaster, or a coach, no one really realizes how much you have to put yourself out there and how much of a grind it is to make sure you have this going on. With social media, it can consume a couple hours a day if you're trying to get things done. But
Yeah,
if you don't, then nobody's going to know. And then you have to deal with all the algorithms. How do you get the
yeah.
right algorithm?
Oh, the algorithm is just, it's like, and it doesn't help that they change it all the time. They make all these updates, so it's better to outsource it if you can afford it. Find someone who knows what they're doing,
Yeah.
because it just takes up so much time to learn all of these new things.
Yeah. And I like I said, I don't think many people know that. So for you, for self-care, what do you recommend for your clients as far as what should they do for self-care?
Definitely meditation. And it's different for everyone. I know some people put off meditation because they're like, I can't sit still. And it's like, you don't always have to sit still to meditate. You can walk, you can run, you can watch birds, that's meditative. Watching a candle flame flicker, that's meditative. Listening to music, put on your favorite music and just lay back. I recommend breathing exercises. So we'll do breathing exercises sometimes during the calls. And then there's also, yeah, I said walking already. I do take walks to help with self care, and also just taking a break. If you're working on anything, a type of project or anything you have going on, taking a break and taking a nap if you have to. Go eat. Don't neglect eating because you want to work, work, work and not take a break.
That's a big thing. I used to work events, tarot events, because I read cards, and I would be booked back to back to back occasionally. And that's depleting because you're giving your energy. When you're doing this, you're stepping into somebody else's energy and you're reading them. And my husband would sit there and go, "You need to eat. You need to take 5 minutes and eat." And I'm like, "No, I'm rolling. I'm getting this done." And I would have to because otherwise, my energy at a certain point, you get spacey. If you're not eating, you are spacey as
Yeah.
anything. And even now, work between some of the stuff I'm doing at home, it's like, I had a smoothie for breakfast at 9 o'clock. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I haven't eaten lunch yet. There's a problem. There's a
Yeah,
problem.
your body needs that.
Yeah. So, you have to find moderation and balance, and eating is definitely part of that balance. Um, so do you have a website? Where can people find you, and what services do you offer exactly?
Yeah, you can find me at soulalignedintrovert.com, or you can email me at kayla@soulalignedintrovert.com. And I'm also on Instagram at soulalignedintrovert. And what I do is I offer a 3 to 4 month program. It depends on the client. And what we go through is we just go through finding your values, your beliefs, a whole process to get you to opening up your tuition and discovering who you really are. And so included with that is just we'll do meditations, we'll do those breathing exercises. And also at the same time that we're opening up yourself and getting to your purpose, I mainly work with introverted women. So we're also getting clear on what you need to succeed as an introverted woman. So what are your self-care rituals that we can create for you? Are there any that you have right now? Can we change them up, make them better? What are you doing to make sure that you're setting boundaries, and what's your self-talk like? And just so we'll just figure out who you are and what you need to best be yourself.
Do a lot of your introverted clients have that negative self-talk reel that you have to really reprogram?
Yeah. And I think that's something that everyone
Oh
suffers with.
yeah. Yeah.
And so, yeah, going through those beliefs and those stories and just kind of unwrapping everything and seeing where exactly it's coming from, those stories are coming from, and creating new stories.
So reframing them.
Correct.
Um, Have you had some great success with your programs? I mean, have you had women
Yes,
that you're just
so
step back and go, wow, look at you now?
yeah, so I had one client who she came to me feeling like she was actually in the same situation I was when I first started. So she was still in college. And so she was just completely lost. She was only in her second semester doing her AA degree.
Okay.
And she's like, I'm not sure this is what I want to do, but her mom really wanted her to. And so we kind of just had to step back. And she was also stressing because she had all these assignments. And I'm like, you have to relax and just take it one day at a time. So pretty much by the end of it, she had figured out what it is that she really wanted to do. And she was clear. She had a lot of doubts come up because what she wanted to do was not something that you can necessarily make money from. But I
Mhm.
did talk to her about other options. Like there's always a way to I can't remember the word.
Incentivize.
Incentivize. Okay, I was close.
You're close.
Something. So yeah, so we ended up figuring out what her purpose was, how she can express it, and she wanted to express that through her career as well, which is popular. Most people do want to express their purpose through their career.
And you talk about being stressed, and the one thing I have to say about stress, and I'm sure you know this completely, is it not only affects you physically, but like if you're a woman, and I'm sure you'll deal with this if you haven't already, a woman that wants to get pregnant, stress will stop that from happening. I've talked to
Mm-hmm.
so many people that, they're like, I want to get pregnant, I want to get pregnant. It's like, okay, well, you need to relax. Well, I am relaxed. Your voice doesn't say you're relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you get the client that is wound so tight to just step back and say, chill? How do you do that?
Yeah, it comes back to meditation and breathing exercises again. I can't stress that enough. It will help you so much and transform you. You won't even it sounds so simple, like meditating, sitting still, which you don't have to sit still to meditate, but a way that I found works best is to just put on a tape, put on a YouTube meditation or listen to some calm music and just sit there, get into yourself, and you'll see how relaxed you feel after it. And it'll also get you out of your mind, get out of your head.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about meditation is your mind will always start to wonder about, hey, you should be doing this instead of you're sitting here doing
It takes
that.
practice.
Yeah. And for me personally, I've had stuff, past trauma come up that I didn't realize was there. So it meditation can be an interesting healing process as well. So
Also, I do want to say journaling helps as well,
yeah,
getting all of your thoughts down on paper.
yeah, agreed, agreed. Well, I thank you, Kayla. It's been an interesting conversation. Is there anything you want to add before we go? Before I ask you the
Yeah.
question?
Yeah, I just want to say if you are in a position right now where you're going through, should I do this or should I do that? And you're feeling called to one option over the other, really look into why you're feeling called into that other option and be willing to take some risk. Think about all the obstacles that may get in your way, and then think about how you can knock down those obstacles and just go with what your heart and your soul are calling you to do. And I will tell you, as someone who decided to do that, it is worth it once you get to that other side.
So I guess the answer to the question is it was better to follow your soul purpose.
Definitely. Definitely. I'm so much happier now. I have so much focus, clarity, direction. I'm not a lost soul just trying to figure out what the heck I'm even doing on earth. I just feel very secure in my purpose.
And I can see the joy. I mean, you radiate the joy that you have, which is awesome, and it's an incredible gift. So I thank you, Kayla, for joining me, and I wish you great success in your business.
Thank you. And thanks for having this talk with me.
You're welcome.